Welcome back, American Coin Hunter. Today, we are going to dig deep into something most people think of as pocket change, a coin so common that it's often overlooked, yet a coin with its own fascinating story of art, American history, change in composition, minting technology, collector interest, and even modern myths of incredible value. I'm talking about the humble 1993 United States 1-cent coin, more commonly called the 1993 Lincoln penny. A coin that in everyday use has a face value of 1 cent, but in the world of coin collectors and numismatists holds a significance far beyond that tiny denomination. The Lincoln penny itself is one of the most enduring coins in United States history. First introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, this coin was the first regular-issue U.S. coin to feature a real historical person, in this case, Lincoln himself, rather than an allegorical figure. Designer Victor David Brenner based the portrait on a photograph of Lincoln by famed Civil War photographer Matthew Brady. For collectors, the story of the Lincoln cent spans more than a century of American coinage, touching on changing metals, ever-growing mintages, and even rare errors that turn a common penny into a collectible treasure. It'd be why the time we reach the year 1993, the Lincoln cent had been minted for over 80 years. The reverse had transitioned from the original wheat ears design, used from 1909 through 1958, to the Lincoln Memorial design introduced in 1959, a design featuring the majestic image of the memorial in Washington, D.C., sculpted by Frank Gasparo, with a tiny depiction of Lincoln seated inside the memorial seen only on close inspection. The Lincoln Memorial reverse remained in use through 2008 before the shield design replaced it in 2010. In 1993, every penny you pulled from pocket change would have that familiar memorial reverse we all know. The words United States of America, 1 cent, and E pluribus unum surrounding the iconic memorial. The 1993 penny, specifically, is a Lincoln Memorial cent, a circular coin struck to a diameter of 19.00 millimeters and weighing 2.50 grams, with a smooth plain edge. These specifications are uniform across all Lincoln pennies of that era, and in 1993, that means a copper-plated zinc coin. Starting in 1982, the United States Mint transitioned from copper-heavy bronze compositions to a core of mostly zinc, with only a thin layer of copper plating. In terms of metal content, that means the coin is roughly 97.5% zinc and 2.5% copper, with the copper serving mainly for color and durability. This change dramatically lowered production cost and allowed coins to be struck in greater quantity, but also introduced some unique properties collectors have learned to appreciate, including susceptibility to corrosion and zinc rot that can alter appearance over time. In 1993, the design itself was considered standard. There were no dramatic changes to the obverse or reverse from the previous years. But 1993 is important as it features what collectors call the close AM reverse. This description refers to the placement of the letters A and M in the word America, which on these coins sit very close together, often nearly touching at their bases. That detail is a key diagnostic point for variety collectors. Normal 1993 pennies all have this close AM spacing, and it's part of what sets the reference point for spotting unusual die errors or misstrikes. From a collector's standpoint, the vast majority of 1993 cents are common. These coins were minted in vast numbers. The Philadelphia Mint struck approximately 5.68 billion coins without a mint mark, as Philadelphia pennies of this era normally do not carry a mint mark, while the Denver Mint struck over 6.42 billion with a D mint mark. A smaller number were struck in San Francisco as 1993 S-proof coins, intended for collectors rather than circulation, with a mintage around 3.39 million. For the everyday observer, a circulated 1993 penny, whether from Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco, is worth essentially what it's stamped for, 1 cent. Most examples found in pocket change, coin rolls, or in jars at home will trade hands for face value. In fact, the piece itself is so common that most circulated examples are worth no more than a few cents to a few dollars unless found in flawless condition. But the story doesn't end there. In the world of high-end coin collecting, where condition and rarity can propel even a lowly penny to surprising heights, the value of a 1993 Lincoln cent can vary dramatically based on grade, and eye appeal. Uncirculated coins, for example, can command dozens to hundreds of dollars depending on surface preservation, color, and strike quality. A typical uncirculated MS-65RD coin might sell for several dollars, while coins graded at MS-67RD or higher, especially those with rich original red surfaces and flawless fields, can command a premium. In exceptional cases, coins graded at MS-69RD, meaning virtually perfect under magnification, have been documented bringing auction prices in the thousands of dollars. In one record instance, a 1993 dated penny sold at auction for over $4,000 in MS-69RD condition. Proof coins, those specially struck versions from the San Francisco Mint, also have a market among collectors. Proofs typically have deep mirror-like fields and frosted devices, and in pristine certified condition, especially in a top PR 70 DCM deep cameo grade, they have been known to bring prices significantly higher than face value, sometimes in the hundreds of dollars at auction. One record proof sale saw a 1993 SPR 70 DCM piece bring around $650. As exciting as these high-grade examples are, it's important to ground expectations. Most 1993 pennies, even in nice condition, are modestly priced. Typical uncirculated -58 Australian dollars to MS-60 coins often sell for under $10, and circulated examples are readily available in large quantities on dealer lists and auction sites for just cents above face value. Rare varieties that might fetch major premiums, like major mint errors or experimental strikes, do exist but are extremely unusual and often subject to intense scrutiny by specialists to ensure authenticity. Now let's address a common myth that sometimes circulates among online treasure hunters and viral coin videos. The idea that a 1993 penny could be worth astronomical sums like $257 million or turn someone into a millionaire if it's discovered in loose change. These sensational claims are not grounded in reality. As of current market evidence from certified auction results and published pricing guides, the high end for an exceptionally graded 1993 penny is in the thousands of dollars, not millions. There is no documented case of a 1993 penny selling for anything remotely close to $257 million, and widely circulated pricing data supports realistic values in the range of 1 cent for common pieces up through a few thousand for ultra-high-grade collector pieces. Market values fluctuate over time based on collector demand, but they are rooted in actual auction records and grading population reports, not speculative internet stories. Even though the idea of turning a penny into unimaginable wealth is largely fiction, the fascination with Lincoln pennies, including the 1993 issue, speaks to the deeper allure of numismatics. The notion that something ordinary and overlooked could contain a hidden story or value beneath the surface. Coin collectors spend lifetimes studying subtle variations in die markers, mint errors, color designations like brown, or red, and more obscure varieties that might quietly increase a coin's collectible value. Part of that collector interest is rooted in the weight and composition of the coin. The 2.50-gram copper-plated zinc penny has qualities very different from the heavier 3.11-gram all-copper penny struck before 1982. This modern composition responds differently to wear, environmental exposure, and minting pressure, which means that eye appeal and surface quality can vary widely. And coins that maintain original mint luster with deep, unbroken red color are particularly prized. Now let's continue even deeper into the story, because the 1993 1-cent coin is not just a piece of metal. It is a silent witness to a very specific moment in American economic, political, and cultural history, and understanding that background helps you see why collectors still pay attention to a coin that most people ignore every single day. In 1993, the United States was in a period of transition. The Cold War had ended only a few years earlier. The American economy was adjusting to new global realities, and everyday life for most people still involved physical cash in a way that feels almost foreign today. Pennies were everywhere. They were used in vending machines, parking meters, grocery stores, gas stations, and school cafeterias. When you held a 1993 penny in your hand back then, it was not just spare change. It was a tiny but essential part of daily commerce. That constant circulation is one of the reasons so many 1993 cents show heavy wear today, and why truly pristine examples stand out so dramatically to collectors. The portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse of the 1993 cent carries emotional weight that goes far beyond its size. Lincoln represents unity, sacrifice, and the struggle to preserve the nation. By 1993, generations of Americans had grown up seeing Lincoln's face on the penny, and the design had become almost invisible through familiarity. But when numismatists examine the coin closely, they see fine details that casual users miss, such as the texture of Lincoln's hair, the depth of the engraving around the jawline, and the crispness of the lettering in Liberty and I in God We Trust. These details are extremely important when grading a coin, because even the slightest weakness in strike or wear can mean the difference between an average uncirculated grade and a top-tier collectible specimen. The minting process in 1993 relied on high-speed modern presses capable of striking hundreds of coins per minute. While this allowed the mint to produce billions of pennies efficiently, it also meant that die wear occurred quickly. As dies aged, small changes appeared in lettering sharpness, surface texture, and rim definition. Collectors who specialize in Lincoln cents often study these subtle differences, sometimes identifying specific die pairs or production runs that exhibit unusual characteristics. These are not always officially recognized varieties, but in advanced collecting circles, they add another layer of interest to an otherwise common year. One aspect that fascinates collectors about the 1993 penny is color. Because the coin is copper-plated zinc, its surface color is extremely sensitive to handling and environment. When freshly struck, the coin has a bright, fiery red appearance. Over time, exposure to air, moisture, oils from human hands, and storage conditions gradually darken the surface. This is why grading services categorize Lincoln cents as red, red-brown, or brown. A fully red 1993 penny that has survived decades without losing its color is far rarer than most people realize, and that rarity directly affects market value. Two coins with the same date and mint mark can have vastly different prices purely because of color preservation. Another factor that drives interest in the 1993 cent is the broader debate over the penny's usefulness. Even in the early 1990s, discussions were already happening about whether the 1-cent coin made economic sense. Production costs were rising, and inflation had eroded the penny's purchasing power. In hindsight, collectors now see coins like the 1993 cent as part of the long final chapter of everyday penny usage. When the U.S. Mint eventually stopped producing pennies decades later, earlier modern-era cents gained a new layer of historical context. They became representatives of a fading monetary tradition rather than just loose change. Error coins from 1993 also deserve attention, because this is where imagination and reality often collide. Genuine mint errors do exist from this year, including off-center strikes, broad strikes, clipped planchets, and occasionally dramatic misalignments. These errors occurred during the fast-paced minting process and escaped quality control. When authenticated, such errors can sell for anywhere from tens to hundreds or even thousands of dollars, depending on severity and eye appeal. However, true errors are rare, and many damaged coins found in circulation are mistakenly believed to be mint errors when they are actually the result of post-mint damage. Knowing the difference is essential for anyone hoping to find value in a 1993 penny. The mythology surrounding extreme prices often grows from misunderstanding how coin markets work. When people hear phrases like "worth millions," they imagine a single coin magically changing a life overnight. In reality, the coin market is driven by supply, demand, condition, and verified rarity. For the 1993 penny, the supply is enormous, which limits how high prices can realistically go. Even the finest known examples achieve high prices because they represent the absolute peak of condition among billions of coins, not because the date itself is rare. This distinction is crucial for collectors and viewers to understand. Still, the idea of searching through coins is powerful. Every roll of pennies carries the possibility, however small, of discovering something special. That sense of treasure hunting is what draws so many people into coin collecting in the first place. A 1993 penny might not be a guaranteed jackpot, but it can be a gateway into learning about grading, minting history, metal composition, and American heritage. Many seasoned collectors began their journey by examining common coins and gradually developing an eye for quality and rarity. Another fascinating angle is how international collectors view U.S. pennies. Outside the United States, Lincoln cents are often seen as iconic symbols of American culture. Collectors in Europe, Asia, and the Middle East frequently include Lincoln pennies in world coin collections, sometimes focusing on specific years like 1993 that represent the late 20th century American economy. This global interest adds subtle demand, especially for high-quality examples and proof issues. The 1993 S-proof penny deserves special mention because it represents the mint's highest standard of craftsmanship for that year. Proof coins were struck multiple times using specially prepared dies and polished planchets, resulting in sharp details and mirror-like fields. These coins were never intended for circulation and were sold directly to collectors. Over time, some proof sets were broken apart, while others were carefully preserved. Today, pristine proof pennies from 1993 reflect not everyday commerce, but the mint's artistic and technical precision at the time. As years pass, the number of untouched, high-grade 1993 pennies continues to shrink. Coins are lost, damaged, corroded, or melted, and even coins stored away are sometimes mishandled. This slow attrition is one reason values for top-graded examples tend to rise gradually over the long term. It's not explosive growth, but rather steady appreciation driven by scarcity at the highest levels of condition. When you look at a 1993 penny today, you are holding a piece of the early 1990s in your hand. You are touching a coin that may have passed through countless transactions, witnessed changing technology, and survived debates about its very existence. Whether it ends up being worth 1 cent or several $1,000s depends on factors most people never think about, but its story is valuable regardless. As we delve further into the 1993 Lincoln cent, it becomes clear that understanding its value is as much about history and context as it is about metal and mint marks. The story of this penny cannot be separated from the broader evolution of U.S. coinage. By 1993, the Lincoln cent had already transitioned through multiple eras, from its original bronze composition to the copper-plated zinc era, from the wheat ears reverse to the Lincoln Memorial reverse, and from occasional special issues to mass production designed for millions of Americans to use every single day. This long lineage gives the 1993 coin a subtle significance that casual collectors might overlook. It is a bridge between the late 20th century monetary practices and the century-old traditions that gave birth to Lincoln's image on a coin. The 1993 penny's obverse, featuring Abraham Lincoln, is instantly recognizable, but within numismatic circles, experts scrutinize even the smallest details. The fine lines in Lincoln's hair, the contours of his cheekbones, the slope of his jaw. These are all elements that affect grading and desirability. When examining a high-grade 1993 penny, experts look for sharpness in these details, absence of scratches or bag marks, and the quality of strike across both the obverse and reverse. Coins that maintain crisp detail and the original red color of the copper plating are the ones that attract attention at major auctions, particularly when submitted for certification by PCGS or NGC. Collectors also pay attention to die varieties and anomalies. In 1993, there were a few subtle variations in the spacing and alignment of letters on the Lincoln Memorial reverse, most notably the close AM variety, where the letters A and M in America sit unusually close together. While this is a recognized variety, it is not rare. Millions of pennies were struck this way, but it helps advanced collectors identify minor differences in die pairs, which in turn can affect market interest. Coin grading and variety research are what separate ordinary 1993 cents from those that become collectible conversation pieces. Beyond die variations, minting errors are another key area of interest. Off-center strikes, double dies, clipped planchets, and other striking anomalies occasionally occurred at the Philadelphia and Denver mints. These coins are naturally rare because the mint's quality control systems were designed to detect and remove defective strikes. When these coins are authenticated, they often fetch significantly higher prices than normal circulation examples. For instance, a substantial off-center 1993 penny, graded and certified by a professional service, could sell for hundreds or even low thousands of dollars, depending on how extreme the error is and the quality of the coin's surface. Color remains one of the most important aspects for grading. The copper-plated zinc composition introduced in 1982 means the 1993 penny is highly sensitive to environmental factors. A coin preserved in its original bright red state for decades is extraordinarily rare because most coins gradually develop brown or red-brown tones due to oxidation and handling. Collectors classify coins into three main color categories: red, RD, red-brown, RB, and brown, BN. Fully red 1993 pennies, particularly those in mint state condition, are highly prized. The difference in market value between a coin that is fully red and one that is browned over time can be enormous, even if both coins are technically uncirculated. Proof coins from 1993 are another fascinating topic. These pennies were struck at the San Francisco Mint using specially polished dies and planchets. The result was a coin with mirror-like fields and frosted devices that contrasted sharply with circulating coins. Proofs were sold in sets or individually to collectors, and only a few million were produced, making them significantly rarer than circulation strikes. A pristine 1993 S-proof penny, especially one graded PR 70 or PR 70 DCM deep cameo, can command high prices, sometimes several $100s or more. Collectors often seek these proofs because they represent the pinnacle of the mint's craftsmanship for that year. Market myths often exaggerate the value of modern Lincoln cents, especially online. Claims of individual 1993 pennies being worth millions of dollars, while sensational, are unsupported by real auction records. The highest graded circulation coins, or the rarest proof examples, might sell for a few $1,000s, but no verified sale has ever approached the kinds of astronomical figures sometimes claimed. Understanding this reality is crucial for anyone entering the coin collecting world. Value comes from rarity, condition, and collector demand, not speculation or internet hype. The 1993 penny also holds an interesting place culturally. While its economic purchasing power was minimal, it was part of a society still deeply reliant on cash. Pennies were everywhere, from vending machines to cash registers to piggy banks. They served not only as currency, but also as symbols of thrift, persistence, and historical remembrance. In classrooms, children learned about Lincoln and American history through coins. For collectors today, this cultural context adds intangible value. It's not just a piece of metal. It's a connection to a specific moment in U.S. life, the early 1990s, before digital payments became dominant. Advanced collectors also consider provenance. Coins with known histories, particularly those that were part of long-standing collections, sometimes attract more attention. A 1993 penny that has been preserved in an album for decades, untouched and certified by a reputable service, is more desirable than one pulled from circulation at random. Provenance can subtly influence collector interest and auction prices, emphasizing the human stories behind the coins as much as their physical characteristics. Furthermore, international interest cannot be overlooked. Outside the United States, Lincoln cents are recognized symbols of American culture. Collectors worldwide often seek pennies from different years to represent late 20th century U.S. coinage. For example, a 1993 S-proof may be more appealing to an international collector than a Philadelphia circulation strike because it's both visually stunning and technically interesting. Global demand, while niche, adds another layer to understanding why even relatively modern coins like the 1993 cent can be collectible. Finally, the 1993 Lincoln penny is a reminder of the larger narrative of the U.S. Mint. It reflects the challenges of high-volume production, the evolution of coin composition, and the transition into a modern monetary system. Its story is not just about metal or market prices. It's about history, artistry, and the subtle ways everyday objects can become prized collectibles. Every 1993 penny, whether in circulation or carefully preserved, carries a story that links it to Abraham Lincoln, the American economy, and generations of Americans who used, saved, and admired these coins. We continue exploring the 1993 penny in more depth. We will examine its highest grade examples, look at notable auction results, and consider why even a coin as ordinary as a 1-cent piece can excite collectors, drive study, and connect people to over a century of American history. The 1993 penny may be small, but its narrative, cultural impact, and collectible potential are remarkably large. Now, diving even deeper, let's explore the grading and auction history of the 1993 Lincoln penny, because this is where the story truly intersects with collector fascination and market reality. While a 1993 penny may seem common to the untrained eye, the coin market is driven not by how many coins exist, but by the condition, rarity, and collector demand. This is where grading becomes the key to understanding why some 1993 pennies can bring significant sums at auction while others remain at face value. Grading a 1993 penny begins with assessing its strike quality, the sharpness of Lincoln's portrait, and the clarity of the Lincoln Memorial reverse. The mint struck billions of these coins, but high-speed presses meant minor inconsistencies inevitably occurred. Experts examined the coin under magnification, looking at Lincoln's jawline, hairlines, cheek contours, and the lettering on the obverse. On the reverse, details such as the columns of the memorial, the steps, and the tiny depiction of Lincoln seated inside are carefully scrutinized. Even a slight weakness in these areas can reduce the coin's grade significantly. The coin's color designation is equally important. As previously mentioned, coins are categorized as red, RD, red-brown, RB, or brown, BN. A fully red 1993 penny is rare because exposure to air, handling, and environmental factors quickly alter the copper-plated zinc surface. Collectors pay premiums for coins that maintain their original red color, especially when combined with a high mint state grade such as MS 65, MS 66, or higher. Such coins are not only visually stunning, but also scarce in the context of billions of coins produced. Auction results illustrate this dynamic clearly. Standard uncirculated 1993 pennies may sell for just a few dollars, but coins in pristine condition with MS 66 RD to MS 69 RD grades have fetched hundreds or even low thousands of dollars. One notable auction highlighted a 1993 Philadelphia penny graded MS 69 RD selling for over $4,000. This demonstrates how condition rarity drives value far more than the date itself. Even more remarkable are certified 1993 S-proof coins. These coins, struck at the San Francisco Mint using polished dies and planchets, were sold to collectors and preserved in original sets. Pristine 1993 S-proofs in PR 70 DCM deep cameo condition have been known to command hundreds of dollars or more, reflecting both aesthetic appeal and scarcity. Errors and anomalies also play a critical role in creating collectible intrigue. During the 1993 minting process, mistakes such as off-center strikes, broad strikes, clipped planchets, and double dies occasionally slipped through quality control. While rare, these error coins often attract significant collector attention. For example, a dramatically off-center 1993 penny can sell for several $100s depending on its appearance and degree of misalignment. Such coins are valuable because they are unique survivors, deviations from standard production that tell the story of a high-speed minting operation where perfection was not always achievable, and it's important to distinguish between genuine mint errors and post-mint damage. Many coins that appear unusual have actually been altered or damaged after leaving the mint. Scratches, dents, corrosion, or cleaning marks can mimic errors but drastically reduce value. Authenticity verification through professional grading services like PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, or NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, is critical for collectors who want to ensure they are investing in legitimate high-value specimens that, in addition to condition, provenance can add value. Coins that have been part of well-documented collections or preserved in albums for decades carry a historical context that appeals to collectors. Provenance assures buyers that the coin has been cared for and that its condition is genuine. A 1993 penny with documented history can therefore fetch a premium over an identical coin of similar grade with unknown origins. From a market perspective, the 1993 Lincoln penny demonstrates how even common coins can gain attention in numismatics when combined with scarcity, grade, or error characteristics. The vast majority of circulation strikes, however, remain worth face value or slightly above, highlighting the contrast between everyday coins and collector-grade specimens. This contrast is one of the reasons collectors are fascinated by the penny. It's a reminder that rarity is not determined solely by production numbers, but by survivability and condition. International interest adds another layer of significance. Outside the United States, Lincoln cents are seen as cultural icons. Collectors in Europe, Asia, and the Middle East often seek coins from the late 20th century to complete chronological collections of U.S. coinage. Proof sets, especially 1993 S proofs, are particularly popular with international buyers due to their aesthetic appeal and limited mintage. This global market subtly affects demand, especially for coins that are visually striking or preserved in top condition. Additionally, the 1993 penny serves as a benchmark for modern Lincoln cent collecting. Because it is part of the copper-plated zinc era, it provides a reference point for examining how later pennies age, how color preservation affects value, and how collector interest evolves over time. Observing the 1993 coin in comparison to earlier copper-heavy cents or later shield-design cents gives collectors insight into the broader trends in U.S. coinage and minting practices. Finally, the cultural and historical significance cannot be overstated. The Lincoln cent represents over a century of American tradition, linking the early 1900s to the modern era. The 1993 penny captures a moment in time when physical cash was still essential, when pennies circulated in daily commerce, and when millions of Americans were familiar with the simple act of giving or receiving a small coin as change. Holding one of these pennies is more than holding metal. It is touching a fragment of history, a connection to Lincoln's legacy, and a tangible piece of American life from the early 1990s, even in a modern context. The story of the 1993 penny continues to resonate. Coin collectors appreciate it not just for its potential monetary value, but for its artistry, history, and the chance to engage with a hobby that blends science, economics, and history. Each coin tells a story, and the 1993 Lincoln cent, though small and common, embodies the intersection of art, history, and human experience in a way that makes it far more than just 1 cent. As we continue, one of the most fascinating aspects of the 1993 Lincoln penny is the rare finds that occasionally surface, turning what seems like a common coin into something extraordinary. Even though billions of 1993 pennies were minted, the sheer size of the mintage makes truly pristine examples, high-grade proofs, and genuine mint errors far less common than one might expect. Among collectors, these coins represent the ultimate thrill. Discovering that a coin you thought was ordinary has qualities that place it in the very top tier of modern Lincoln cent. Collecting .1 category of rare finds involves exceptionally high-grade circulation coins. Most 1993 pennies show some wear, minor scratches, or loss of original color. A coin that has survived decades untouched, preserving its bright red copper plating and full mint luster, is exceptionally rare. These coins are often graded MS 66RD to MS 69RD by professional grading services. An MS 69RD coin, which is nearly perfect under magnification, can command prices in the thousands of dollars at auction. The reason for this rarity is simple. Out of billions of coins, very few escape circulation entirely, and even fewer maintain perfect surfaces and vibrant red color over 30 years of existence. Proof coins, particularly 1993 S proofs, are another area where collectors often find hidden value. These coins were struck using polished dies on specially prepared planchets, resulting in a mirror-like finish with frosted relief. While millions of proof sets were sold, coins that remain in PR 70 or PR 70 DCM condition are incredibly scarce. Because collectors often break sets for individual coins or handle them over the years, untouched proof pennies are highly sought after. A single 1993 SPR 70 DCM penny has been known to sell for several $100s, and its aesthetic appeal often makes it a centerpiece for any Lincoln cent collection. Error coins from 1993 are particularly fascinating. During mass production at high speed, mistakes occasionally occurred. Examples include off-center strikes, broad strikes, clipped planchets, double die obverse or reverse, and die cracks. Each type of error tells a story about the minting process. Off-center strikes are especially prized when the misalignment is dramatic because they are visually striking and rare. A penny with a significant off-center strike from 1993, authenticated and graded, can command hundreds of dollars, sometimes more depending on collector interest. Double dies, where letters or features are slightly doubled due to die misalignment, are also fascinating for advanced collectors. These errors are more than curiosities. They are snapshots of production moments that could never be reproduced, giving the coin historical and scientific significance. It is crucial, however, to distinguish genuine errors from post-mint damage. Scratches, dents, corrosion, or intentional alterations can mimic an error, but they do not confer collectible value. Professional grading services like PCGS or NGC authenticate coins and confirm whether an unusual feature is a true mint error. Collectors pay a premium for certified error coins because they are guaranteed to be authentic and are often one-of-a-kind survivors. Another interesting aspect is hidden varieties, which subtle differences in dies can create. While 1993 is generally considered a standard year, minor differences in letter spacing, mint mark placement, or relief height can make certain coins more desirable to specialists. For example, the Close AM variety on the Lincoln Memorial reverse is common, but spotting slight deviations in the strike or die pairing can make a coin attractive to advanced collectors. These subtle variations are often overlooked by casual collectors, but are highly prized in niche numismatic circles. The long-term investment potential of the 1993 penny depends on rarity, grade, and demand trends. While circulation coins remain modest in value, high-grade red cents, proof coins, and certified errors have shown steady appreciation over the years. Auction data confirms that top-condition coins maintain interest among serious collectors and are more likely to gain value over time, particularly as supply diminishes due to natural attrition, coins lost, damaged, or melted. In other words, while the average 1993 penny may never make anyone wealthy, the very best examples have the potential for meaningful returns for dedicated collectors who understand grading, preservation, and market trends. Cultural significance also adds intangible value. The 1993 penny is a representation of the early 1990s, an era when cash transactions dominated daily life. Children carried pennies to school, families saved them in jars, and businesses relied on them for making exact change. Holding a well-preserved 1993 cent today connects collectors to that historical moment. It's a reminder that even the smallest denominations reflect society, economics, and human behavior. Coins are not just metal. They are history you can hold in your hand. Internationally, Lincoln cents have become iconic symbols of America. Collectors worldwide often seek complete chronological collections of U.S. coinage, and a 1993 cent, particularly an MS. 68 or higher uncirculated coin or a pristine 1993 S proof, can attract attention in Europe, Asia, and the Middle East. Global demand, though niche, strengthens the market for top-grade examples and adds an extra layer of collectible appeal. Finally, the 1993 Lincoln penny is a lesson in patience and observation for collectors. It reminds us that collecting is not about instant wealth, but about studying, preserving, and appreciating. Each coin tells a story, whether it is a common circulation strike or a rare error. The value of these coins lies not only in potential monetary gain, but also in their historical, aesthetic, and cultural significance. For collectors, the 1993 penny is a gateway into the world of numismatics, where attention to detail, understanding of minting processes, and awareness of grading and rarity can transform even a small, seemingly ordinary coin into a prized collectible. As we reach the conclusion of our journey into the 1993 Lincoln penny, it's worth reflecting on some of the most remarkable stories and auction results associated with this seemingly ordinary coin. While billions were minted, a handful of exceptional finds continue to amaze collectors and enthusiasts around the world. One of the key lessons from examining these coins is that condition, preservation, and rarity are far more important than sheer mintage numbers when determining value. Over the past few decades, auction houses have documented numerous sales of high-grade 1993 pennies that reveal just how far this humble coin can travel in value. A Philadelphia-minted 1993 penny graded MS. 69 RD recently fetched over $4,000, demonstrating the premium collectors are willing to pay for a coin in pristine condition. Similarly, a 1993 S-proof penny, carefully preserved in its original set and graded PR, 70 DCM, sold for several $100s. While these coins are outliers compared to everyday circulation pennies, they show the potential for exceptional examples to command high prices in the market. Collectors have also uncovered rare error coins from 1993, each with its own story. Off-center strikes, double dies, and clipped planchets occasionally appear, and the excitement of discovering one can be life-changing for numismatists. One anecdote tells of a collector who found an off-center 1993 penny in loose change at a local store. After authentication and grading, it sold for several $100s, turning an ordinary transaction into a memorable numismatic event. Stories like this highlight the thrill of coin collecting. The possibility that a seemingly mundane coin can carry hidden value and historical intrigue. The 1993 penny also continues to educate collectors about modern Lincoln cent production. Its copper-plated zinc composition, minted with high-speed presses, provides insight into the mint's efficiency and technical challenges. Observing die variations, color retention, and minor striking anomalies helps collectors understand the subtle factors that differentiate a common circulation coin from a highly valuable collectible. This attention to detail cultivates patience, observation skills, and historical appreciation, all hallmarks of serious numismatics. From a broader perspective, the 1993 penny reminds us that coins are more than money. They are historical artifacts that reflect culture, technology, and societal values. The Lincoln cent, with its iconic portrait and memorial reverse, links modern Americans to the legacy of Abraham Lincoln, to the economy of the early 1990s, and to the tactile experience of handling currency. Each 1993 penny, whether in circulation or preserved in pristine condition, carries this story forward. Looking to the future, the 1993 penny may grow in significance. As time passes, fewer pristine examples will survive untouched, making high-grade coins increasingly rare. Collectors may focus on top-quality red cents, certified proofs, and authenticated errors, steadily increasing the market value of these exceptional coins. While claims of millions of dollars for a single penny are sensationalized myths, realistic appreciation for well-preserved specimens remains a genuine and enduring phenomenon. The 1993 penny, in this sense, is both a collector's challenge and a historical treasure. In closing, the 1993 Lincoln penny demonstrates the depth and richness hidden in even the smallest denominations. It is a coin that teaches lessons about history, artistry, minting technology, market value, and the psychology of collecting. Whether you are a casual observer, a budding collector, or a seasoned numismatist, the 1993 penny offers something valuable, a tangible connection to the past, a study in preservation and rarity, and the potential for excitement and discovery. And no matter how common it may appear in your pocket, the 1993 penny carries with it a narrative that spans decades. It embodies the story of Abraham Lincoln's enduring legacy, the evolution of U.S. coinage, and the ever-present allure of finding beauty and value in the details. From circulation coin to high-grade collectible, from proof set to rare error, the 1993 Lincoln cent is a reminder that even the smallest piece of currency can tell the largest story. And so, as we conclude our journey, remember this: each 1993 penny you encounter is not just a coin. It is a fragment of history, a potential collectible, and a connection to over 80 years of Lincoln cent heritage. Treasure it, study it, and appreciate it, for in that small copper-plated zinc disc, there lies a universe of history, artistry, and discovery waiting to be explored.